Hey everyone, welcome back. Ever get this feeling like history's got this weird way of repeating itself?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Today we're gonna really dig into this idea
Okay.
with the stories of two whistleblowers,
Yeah.
decades apart, but man, their lives, they echo each other.
Yeah.
We're talking Frank Serpico, NYPD, the legend,
Right.
and Steve Lee, he's Asian American, also an officer, went through, well, you'll see, it's uncanny.
Wow.
Get this. Lee was even called Asian Serpico. That's how strong the connection is.
I'm intrigued. What makes Serpico's story so, I don't know, iconic?
So think back to like the 60s, 70s, New York City, NYPD corruption.
Got it.
Wasn't even a secret.
I've heard. Yeah.
Now, Serpico, he refused to play that game.
Good for him.
And he didn't just find a couple bad apples.
Right.
His testimony Knapp Commission, they investigated all this.
Right.
It blew the lid off widespread bribery, brutality. The whole system was crooked.
Wow.
It shook the NYPD to its core. And this is all before internet, social media, right?
Can't even imagine.
He was sticking his neck out big time. Way riskier back then.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But back to Lee. His story, it's nuts. Imagine being pressured to be corrupt by your own people. The cops.
Oh, wow.
That's what he faced.
No kidding.
Undercover, he's getting pressured. Same stuff. Serpico exposed bribes, fixing tickets, everything.
So what did he do?
It got so bad, Lee feared for his own safety inside the force.
You're kidding.
So he fights back. Just like Serpico, wears a wire, gathers evidence against these dirty cops.
No way.
And guess what? Exposes this whole network, very similar to what Serpico found years before.
History rhyming, huh?
And here's where it gets wild. They connected on Twitter.
Wait, seriously? On Twitter?
Started simple. Serpico retweeted some news about Lee's case, right?
Okay.
Next thing you know, they're DMing, having actual conversations.
That's kind of amazing.
These two guys, different worlds, brought together by this shared experience.
It's like poetic almost.
And you'd think, after all Serpico went through, he'd be jaded, right?
You'd think.
But he reached out. And Serpico, man, this is a guy who got shot in the face. They said accident, but still,
Yikes.
he doesn't trust easily.
Makes sense.
This connection with Lee, it speaks volumes.
He must have seen something special in Lee. Definitely.
So what they talk about, what kind of wisdom did Serpico pass down?
Yeah, I want to know, what did the OG whistleblower tell the new generation?
We'll unpack all that, plus the incredible support Serpico gave Lee during a tough time.
I can't wait. This is juicy.
Right after the break, so don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
It really makes you think, those Twitter DMs, almost like this, I don't know, a digital bridge between generations of whistleblowers, you know?
It is. It really is. And it goes deeper than just, like, both being NYPD, both these guys. They faced the music for speaking up.
Yeah, they got slammed for doing the right thing.
Totally. Ostracized, called rats, that whole blue wall of silence thing, it's real.
The people who should be, like, giving them medals, they're the ones turning on them.
Exactly. And that messes you up, that isolation, thinking you can't trust anyone.
Yeah, who can you trust at that point?
Lee's even said he's, like, super careful online now. Double checks with friends before accepting friend requests, just in case. Makes you wonder, how do you ever really get past that?
Once that paranoia sets in.
Right. And for both of them, it wasn't just their own necks on the line, it was their families, too. Talk about pressure.
You're putting everything at risk your whole life.
And speaking of putting it all on the line, remember Lee's foray into politics?
Oh, yeah, right.
Serpico didn't just whisper support. When Lee's campaign got rough, Serpico publicly backed him up.
That's right, he did. Which, coming from Serpico, that's huge.
Totally. Serpico, the guy's private, cautious, and for good reason. But with Lee, he put himself out there.
Lee was getting slammed, though, right? Smear campaigns, the works.
Big time. Trying to say he was the corrupt one, can you believe that?
So messed up.
Yeah.
Like using his past to discredit him when he was the one trying to clean things up in the first place.
Exactly. And that's when Serpico, boom, sends that tweet, said something like, fighting NYPD corruption like Stephen and I have makes you a target. Powerful stuff.
He knew exactly what Lee was going through firsthand.
And then he goes even further, says, we need good people like you in office. Coming from Serpico. That's gold.
Yeah, like the godfather of whistleblowers giving his blessing had to mean the world to Lee.
Absolutely. I bet that resonated with voters, too. This legend risking it all for what's right, vouching for you. That's huge.
Passing the torch, kind of. But man, it's kind of depressing, too,
How so?
They were still dealing with this all these years later. Whistleblowers, Doing the right thing, still getting trashed.
It's like, haven't we learned anything? What's it going to take to change things for real?
It's a good question, and a little depressing, honestly. But hey, before we go down that rabbit hole,
Good point. Good point.
let's just, for a second, appreciate what these guys have, Serpico and Lee. They found each other, man, after all that crap.
It's true. It's a bright spot, right?
They support each other. Keep fighting the good fight.
Really shows you, even in the muck, they're still good in people.
Yeah, exactly. It's inspiring.
Just to think, right? What else connects these two besides the job? What else can we learn from their stories individually? It's, to really get it, you got to look past the news stories, the basic facts. These guys, it's like being a whistleblower. It's more than just what they did, It's part of who they are.
Okay, so more than a job, it's like their purpose or something.
Kinda, yeah. Serpico, even before all this went down, he was known for being like super ethical, couldn't stand to see anyone cheated, didn't matter if it was some crook or a dirty cop.
So him speaking out, it wasn't out of nowhere. It's like built into him.
Exactly. And Lee, what I've read, same deal, talks about being raised like respecting the law is huge, doing what's right no matter what, which,
Makes it even worse that the very thing they believed in kind of bit them back.
Totally. And that's gotta mess with your head, man. Imagine dedicating your life to something only to have everyone you thought was on your side turn on you.
Talk about a punch to the gut.
Seriously, that kind of betrayal shakes you to the core,
No wonder they're still so careful all these years later.
Right. And that's not just like them being paranoid, it's survival, They learn the hard way. Not everyone's playing by the rules, even the ones who should be.
And that messes with you, seeps into everything, not just work, right?
Oh, absolutely. Serpico, he's talked about how the whistleblowing, it's screwed with his relationships, put this distance between him and people he cared about.
Because how do you even explain that to someone? That constant looking over your shoulder feeling, they probably just think you're nuts.
Totally. Even if they get it, like in their heads, that fear, it never really goes away. It wears you down,
Yeah.
Your mental state, your relationships, how you see the world.
A shadow that never really leaves, even when the sun's out. So how do they keep going? After all that, still fighting, what makes them tick?
Good question, right? Where do any of us find the strength for that? Face down the crap, do the right thing when it's hard.
The ultimate test, kinda.
And these two, they aced it. I think part of it is that shared purpose,
Yeah.
They saw it, how corruption poisons everything. Trust goes out the window. Justice is a joke. The people you're supposed to help, they get screwed the worst.
And they can't just unsee that, so they got to fix it, whatever it takes.
Exactly. And that belief, that fire in their gut, that's what keeps them going. When it'd be easier to just shut up. They're fighting for something bigger now, something beyond just them.
Fighting for, like, a world where integrity actually means something, where the truth matters and the powerful can't just get away with anything.
And man, that's a fight worth having, even if it takes your whole life.
It really is. And their stories, Serpico and Lee, it's like this proof that one person can make a difference. That even when things look totally screwed, there's always hope. And hey, to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this. We hope their courage, their stories, they stick with you. That even when things are dark, there's always, always a little light out there.